thought it was Avatar, didn't you? It's a cartoon clip show, remember? No, this isn't Avatar, but something tells me that James Cameron has seen this movie before. This is Gandahar. Gandahar, or Light Years as it's known here in the States, is a 1988 French film based on a science fiction novel titled The Machine Men vs. Gandahar. The screenplay for the English version was done by noted science fiction author ISAAC ASIMOV, and it has some big-name actors involved with it. Glenn Close, Christopher Plummer, Penn Jillette, Bridget Fonda, Paul Schaefer, Teller. Wait, they got both Penn and Teller? And Teller, the one that doesn't talk, is voice acting? Okay, now I'm curious. Let's get started. The movie opens on a peaceful alien planet where we see some of its inhabitants and animals. And you'll notice all the censoring I have to do. Yeah, apparently this culture is okay with their women being topless. Because some alien races are awesome like that. Things seem pretty nice around here. I wonder if anything will show up to ruin that. Never fails, does it? Meanwhile, at the capital city up on Booby Hill, the leader of Gandahar, who has wings on her head for some reason, is trying to figure out what happened. So the Council of Busty Women appoints someone to investigate.
The Council has chosen our best agent to investigate. Which one? Sylvain.
Sylvain? But he is too young. He's much too impetuous.
I was his teacher just as I was yours. I promise you he is capable.
Surely there are more capable and more experienced agents than my son.
The Council has ruled, and you cannot change their decision. We've already summoned him.
Agent Sylvain, I understand that you're the best man for this job.
We're not going to give you any more backstory on this, but trust us, he's awesome. Sylvain mounts his flying stingray and heads off. Hell yeah. Suddenly the pterodactyls from Fire and Ice are looking a little less badass. Anyway, it's a long journey and he nods off while giant flying creatures attack him. What was that about him being the best man for the job? He crash lands and passes out. I think this movie's about to get weird.
He will be alive, but very weak.
That was Teller, by the way. Just, you know, FYI.
He will be alive, but very weak.
He will be very careless to fly so far from the capital.
I've never heard anyone speak in multiple tenses before. Will be very confused by this. Luckily, the freak show here is peaceful.
Do not be frightened, we're harmless.
I have 3 arms.
I said harmless, not armless.
They take him to their underground society to speak with their leader, who looks like a tumor they cut off of Jabba the Hutt.
Who were you?
Were?
I am Sylvain of Gandahar, a soldier, and a prisoner of the enemy.
Enemy?
Are we the enemy?
Of course you are.
You will be a dick.
Will they be always so smug and Jasper?
They certainly were when they did this to us.
Keep quiet. Now then, do you really believe we're the enemy?
I do.
Capable of conquering you?
Never.
Best man for the job, huh? So the Morlocks here tell Sylvain that there's some kind of failed experiment that the scientists of Gandahar were working on and abandoned. So exactly what kind of experiment involves putting tits on a man's back? Gandahar scientists must be really lonely. Anyway, they give Sylvain a guide, who I think is half fried chicken, to lead him through the forest to where the real enemies might be.
Sheol, all of you say was, will be, instead of simply I am. Why?
We deformed, as you call us, are terrified of the present. When the genetic errors were first committed, we had the gift of foresight. We could see the future. Now each new generation grows even more deformed, and we have lost this gift. And in losing it, all that we have left is a double prophecy. Doubly obscure. In 1,000 years, Gandahar was destroyed and all its people killed. 1,000 years ago, Gandahar will be saved, and what can't be avoided will be.
In 1,000 years, Gandahar was destroyed. 1,000 years ago, Gandahar will be saved. Past and future as one. But what does it mean?
We don't understand it any better than you.
Oh no! Even the movie doesn't understand its own bullshit! Red alert! Red alert! This is an Omega level emergency! Seal off all entrances! Game over, man! Game over! Okay, overreacted. It's just a movie. Let's see how this plays out. So they get out of the jungles of Pandora, seriously, look at it, and discover a spot where people were turned into lawn ornaments when an army of evil C-3POs show up. Best man for the job! They put him inside this giant egg where he suddenly turns back to normal and meets this girl named Ariel who looks an awful lot like Neytiri from Avatar. I don't know about you, but I am shocked to discover that James Cameron's Avatar isn't an original movie. But I'll give Avatar some credit. At least Neytiri was a badass and strong female character. This bitch doesn't do anything except be there with no top on.
Is this a dream?
Yes, because this is the perfect time to be flirting. Suddenly a dinosaur attacks, and apparently the robot men are so little of a threat that it just takes its time. Looks like a toddler playing with army men. Then it grabs the egg and thinks Sylvain and Ariel are its children. Are we really gonna do this? Well, apparently not, because it wanders off and we don't see it again. Weirdest escape ever. They go through the remains of the robot men to discover they're actually hollow suits of armor with, like, an M&M inside of the head. I hope we get some explanation soon. My brain can't handle this. Then they see more robot men take some more people through some kind of a portal that they think is where the robot men are coming from. So they try to find out more about them by sneaking onto one of their boats. After sailing through a scene from Pink Floyd's The Wall, they end up on Phallus Island. Then all this happens.
We exist through your will. We carry out your orders to serve your will. The fate of Gandahar lies in your hands, and we will obey your wishes. Our attacks have been successful. We have transformed many Gandaharians and have delivered them to you in obedience.
The civilization of pleasure and freedom will soon be gone.
And now, men of metal, be ready to draw strength from the substance of the great beginning. Long live the great beginning!
You know, we're almost halfway through this movie, and I still have no idea what's going on. I mean, I'm trying. I'm really trying here, but they keep throwing all this weird crap at me without any context to back it up. I better get some explanation soon, otherwise blood's gonna start shooting out of my ear.
As we drifted, I felt as if my mind was being stripped.
I know the feeling. So after they get off the Body Wars ride, they meet the Brain.
This is a lot of tripe, you know that.
God, I wish. No, it's this giant life form called Metamorphosis, who the machine men are worshipping, I think. I don't know, even he doesn't sound sure.
Are you or are you not the leader of the Men of Metal?
They believe I am.
And when they slaughter innocent people, are they not obeying your orders?
They think they have received them, and sometimes I even believe that I've given them.
And this final annihilation, are you for or against it?
I would find it physically unpleasant should the Men of Metal fail, yet I don't wish to see Gandahar die, and no doubt a sentimental streak on my part.
How admirable.
Yes, Sylvain, not unlike you. You could say we are cousins.
I've concluded that I'm not high enough to figure out the rest of this scene, so let's just fast forward. They get back to Gandahar on a flying skin carpet, ew, and discover the Jawbreaker from the Metal Men and Metamorphosis are made of the same material. Meanwhile, soldiers are trying to fight off the droid army, but the weapons they got from Cobra La don't seem to do much to slow them down. Then finally we get some exposition. It turns out Metamorphosis was an artificially intelligent life form developed by their scientists that kept growing and eventually couldn't control, so they just dumped him into the ocean. Good job, guys. Sylvain goes to try and reason with it, but if he can't, he's given a thingy that might kill it. He mounts the backup flying stingray and heads off. However, when he gets there, we're met with yet another plot twist.
I've been waiting for you.
Monster. You're a liar. Didn't you know all along that the Men of Metal...
I know what you're going to say, that the Men of Metal are my tools. I can't answer that. But I know something you don't. They've come from the future.
It's too incredible. Show me some proof.
You've already seen the proof.
Where?
The door of time. You did not grasp its meaning.
The door of time allows people to move here from the future.
From the future and to the future. Both ways, like all doors.
And you're telling me that the prisoners inside those eggs are sent to the future? But what for, Metamorphosis? Why?
Unfortunately, I do not yet know the answer to that question. I cannot bear the idea of ruling a world consisting solely of an army of killers. I want it to be you that will overcome me, stop me, kill me. But in 1,000 years.
So it was really future Metamorphosis that sent the robots to this time for some reason. So rather than choose not to do this or allow himself to be killed, since he said he didn't really want to destroy Gandahar, sorta, he puts Sylvain into a 1,000-year sleep so he can be killed in the future. So how's the war with the machine men going? The freaks take out an army of them with their lightning powers. Yeah, by the way, they can control the weather apparently, while another army moves onto the capital, but will first have to get past their greatest line of defense.
Crab people, crab people, crab people, crab people, crab people, crab people.
Somehow they got past them, but the remaining survivors fly off in the capital. 1,000 years pass and Sylvain awakens to find a different world with the mutants leading the resistance against Metamorphosis. And finally we learn what this is all about. It turns out as Metamorphosis grew older, his cells couldn't regenerate anymore, so he created the Metal Men to bring him people he can harvest cells from to keep himself alive. At last, a motive and a goal. It's like pulling teeth with this movie. The cast of Caligula go to free the captured people and fight off the machine men, while Sylvain confronts Metamorphosis and kills him. Boy, that was easy. Then they head back to the past, which is saved now because they saved the future, which saved the present. I mean the past. No, wait, they went back to the future to... No, he was in the future and he came back to the... He saved the future to save the present. Ow. Ow. Oh. Man, this one wasn't easy. I don't think I've ever seen a movie this frustrating. I mean, I didn't hate it because it was pretty creative, the planet was interesting, and there was some commentary about the hubris of progress and how paradise can't last forever, but everything else was excruciating. Unlike Red Planet, I've not read this book, so I don't know if it has better narrative, but when you adapt a work, you need to make sure the general audience can understand what's going on. Granted, things eventually started making sense, but it took a lot of trekking through bizarre imagery and dialogue to get to that point. So I guess I can recommend this movie if you're patient and are willing to sit through confusing stuff to get to good stuff. Or if you like blue boobs, then you'll love this movie. Boy, this was an ordeal, wasn't it? But the director of this movie did some other animated science fiction films, and for our final stop on the Obscurathon, we'll be looking at one of them next time. Will it make more sense than this did? Well, I guess time will tell.